Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm gonna share with you my insights about Jesus Christ. Who is Jesus Christ and what makes him stand out from the rest of humanity? According to the Journal of the Royal Astronomical Society, London, Jesus was born in the month of April 5 BC, as argued by Professor Collin of the University of Cambridge. The birth of Jesus was foretold in the book of Isaiah, chapter 7, verse 14. Jesus was conceived by the Holy Spirit, devoid of original sin, which makes him pure and uncontaminated by carnal sin. As a young boy, Jesus was well versed in the scriptures. The priests were amazed at his wisdom and knowledge of the scriptures. Jesus was found teaching in the temple and debating with the priests. Jesus Christ was an excellent communicator. His debating skills were exceptional, which is quite evident in his witty replies to his opponents. Here's an incident from Matthew chapter 22, verse 15 to 22, to illustrate Jesus' wit. When the Pharisees and Herodians intended to entrap Jesus with the question, "Is it lawful to pay taxes to the emperor or not?" Jesus, aware of the malice in their hearts, responds, "Why are you putting me to the test, you hypocrites? Show me the coin used for the tax." When they hand him a denarius, he asks, "Whose head is this and whose title?" They respond, "The emperor's." Then Jesus gives it straight to them with these sharp words, "Give therefore to the emperor the things that belong to the emperor, and to God the things that belong to God." Jesus was the greatest teacher who taught by example and through parables. His teaching shaped the human society. His Sermon on the Mount stands out as one of his greatest teachings that is a source of solace even to this day to a world plagued with war, terrorism, racism, communal riots, and social and economic injustice. Jesus was a remarkable and charismatic leader. He was a crowd puller. People were just drawn to him like iron filings to a magnet. He had this pure divine aura around him that was so healing and comforting. The young and the old, the women and the children crowded around him. They saw in him a Messiah, a liberator, a deliverer, a leader, a healer, and the hand of God that did not forsake them. Jesus was a divine healer who healed many with his miraculous healing powers. He made the blind see, the lame walk. He cured the paralyzed. He raised the dead back to life. Jesus was an excellent psychologist. He had an amazing knowledge of the human behavior. He could see right through a person. His expertise in human behavior is quite evident in his interaction with the Samaritan woman, to whom he offers the living waters. Also, at the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus finds his disciples sleeping instead of praying, he says to them, "The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak," indicating his understanding of the human nature and empathizing with their inadequacies. Jesus is the greatest social reformist the world has ever known. When the woman caught in adultery was nearly stoned to death, Jesus did something incredible. He wrote on the sand for people to read and reread and retain in their minds these indelible, soul-piercing words, "He that is without sin among you, let him cast the first stone." The very act is divinely orchestrated. Jesus stooped down to write, which symbolically amounts to God stooping down to save a human being trapped in the web of life. After the crowd leaves, Jesus says to the woman, "Go in peace and sin no more." Jesus does not approve of the wrong, but he has a better sense of justice, fairness, and humanity than everybody else. This is what makes Jesus the greatest social reformist. One of his greatest transformational teachings is to love your enemies and do good to those who persecute you. Jesus introduced the concept of forgiveness to the world that was rooted in the barbaric Hammurabi code, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Jesus liberated the people from their own prison of hatred, discrimination, ignorance, and judgment. Even during his last moment on the cross, he uttered, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do." The cross is not a symbol of suffering and defeat, but it is an icon of victory over suffering and sins of humanity. Jesus, who is God incarnate, paid the price for the innumerable sins of humankind. Greater love has no one than to lay down his life for his friends. What Jesus did was he literally attempted to breach the law of karma and the Newton's third law by taking our place on the cross. He literally took our punishment and spared us from the wrath, judgment, and retribution. If God is love, as stated in 1 John 4:16, then Jesus is God, for he literally loved us to death and resurrection. Jesus Christ is the greatest superhero, an exceptional leader, teacher, counselor, healer, a social reformist, a divine embodiment, and God incarnate to ever walk the face of the earth. I hope you found my video informative, interesting, and enlightening. Thank you.